All right, this is Mike. We are here for yet another Money Getting with Mike. Money Getting Acceleration Extravaganza. We've got some cool stuff on tap for today. We're actually really excited about this. I see David Hood just jumped online, so I'm going to make David an organizer. I'll do that right now, and I'm going to pull up a couple things here that we will use that will help us get to the money getting. Hey, David, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Great to have you on. Thank you so much for taking valuable time out of your day to join us.
You're welcome.
All right, let me pull up David Hood's Facebook wall here real quick. This is David, and stoked that you're here, David. I don't know how well you guys know David. Give me the number one if you've already seen his module inside of OMG. Give me the number one. I'm curious. Oh, yeah, there we go. I usually have Greg Morrison to tell me that that I don't have my monitor up. So okay, good. All right, a lot of people have seen it. Great. Oh, that's excellent. We got Jim on. Jim Messenger's on. Yeah, I might actually bring Jim on live if we have time. I'd really like to. Let's begin with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of a weekend review. We've got some exciting news this week. The blueprint, I've been really working on the blueprint. Do you know about this, David? Have I shown you this yet? The Project
Say that
X
again.
blueprint? Have you seen this, the Project X blueprint?
I have not taken a look at it yet. I'm sorry.
But you're aware of it, right?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm really excited about it. I was up to the wee hours of the morning working on it. I'm adding in the Jimmy Kelly domination area, which is going to be really exciting. It's going to include a little bit of an update from Jimmy shortly. But it's really coming along. I think it's almost 60 pages that I've written, like in about the last week and a half, and it's all kind of inner hyperlinked. And if you've already had a look at the blueprint and you've been going through, it's actually pretty neat. It's saved on a Google Drive, and I can often see when people are on, like looking at it and checking it out and so forth. And so it's always nice for me to see people in there and working on it, having a good time. When anybody who's on this event, if you want access to the blueprint, I'm going to generally start rolling it out this week. So you can email me at omg@omgmachines.com to get access to it. So that's going to be exciting. I'll talk a little bit more about the blueprint towards the end of the event, but it's been really exciting rolling it out. I've got a lot of work into it, and I've really enjoyed it. And there's just a lot of value in even doing it. I learn a lot in doing it. So what I want to do here is we've got a lot to cover today. It's action packed as always, and do this. I'll just really quickly mute David because David's a furious typer. He likes to furiously type away while we're while we're working here. So I've opened up the Project X membership area right here, and right here, if you scroll down to monetizing, which is beginning with the objective in mind, you've got quite a new module with David Hood. Actually, just got an update on it just about a day ago, and it's right here where it says acquisition, pricing, and follow up. And David's had a huge success since he joined OMG. And I got to tell you this: when he joined, he was definitely like a back to the wall situation. He had quit his day job to try to make the whole online money getting thing work, and things had stalled a bit for him when he joined us for NHB, and he really kicked it into overdrive from there. The last couple of months, he's made $20,000 per month, which is as much or more money as even top end doctors make. So it's quite exciting, how well he's doing with this. And what I want to do is talk a little bit about his acquisition, pricing, servicing clients module here, because, and this is the latest video that we just got from David just yesterday and added in for nice clarity. It's really nice they did this. One of the reasons I really want everybody who's on this event to go through this module carefully because because we're actually going to be doing a focused webinar that's just on answering your questions about this module and to David. We're going to be doing that shortly. We might even, David and I might even bang out a time live during this event in how we're going to do that. So that'll be really neat. And we've gotten, how many people who've gone through this module really liked it? And oh, that's wonderful. Patrick said this is so valuable, the blueprint I think he's referring to. Oh, this is a wonderful question about the blueprint from Andre. Andre says, hey, Mike, just a quick question. When it gets updated, referring to the blueprint, do we request an update from you? Or do we just have access to it once it's already? Yeah, this is the really cool thing about the Project X blueprint. This is a live blueprint. Actually, it's funny, both me and Todd Spears, we were both editing it at the same time last night. So there can actually be 2 or even 3 people editing, or as many as I wanted, I guess, editing it at the same time in real time. And those updates will come through. Somebody who was watching me develop the early version of it was remarking that it was a little bit like watching a webinar, like kind of a different version of a webinar. But I'll show you what I was working on last night. I was working on this domination area, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, this is it right here, and this is on how it is that we rank, just kind of dominate page 1 for Nashville SEO and for that Waterdam St. George. You can also use this for affiliate stuff, and combining all of these tools. And one of the things we particularly try to do with OMG, and this began with Greg, is we particularly try to share a duplicable model with you, something that you can duplicate, something that where it's not just that we're successful, but with something that requires specialized information or inside contacts or inside information or a lot of money or a big sprawling business, something that can really be duplicated. It's one of the reasons I'm really excited to have David Hood live with us today. But yeah, this is what I was working on last night. This is this module I'm working on right now, the domination module. This is how Jimmy does what he does. This is a major component to how Jimmy makes these websites and web properties that make so much money. And what I'm doing, particularly with Jimmy's module, is I'm going through video by video very carefully, painstakingly, and because it's a lot of step by step, SEO techniques, and I try to make it really clear, like select options, check this box here, choose spend. Whenever we can make things step by step inside of it, and then here are the next videos to come. Although I'll give you a sneak preview on the next videos. I've got tons of screen captures. Whenever we can make things particularly step by step inside of OMG, we always really want to do that. So what I wanted to do, we also have another special guest who I've invited along. And I just want to make sure, Ed, if you're going to have to duck out early, let me know, because I'll bring you live if you're going to have to leave. Otherwise, I'll roll right into things with David Hood here. So just let me know. Oh, that's funny. Pete says it's like Wikipedia. How long before we can get this? You can get it right now. All you have to do to get it is email me at omg@omgmachines.com. And request it, and I will give you access to it. Yep, Angela asked the same question. Yep, you can just email me at omg@omgmachines.com. And as you can see, look right here, Ed Stapleton's logged in, I can tell. Larry's logged in right now. I can see, it's really neat for me because I can kind of see in real time. Just, I can't necessarily see what you're doing. I see Tony Stewart's in here, right? Pretty cool. You can see that Rob's in. Who's this here? Oh, Andre's in. All right, that's great. So anyways, yeah, so that's fun, and we'll get more to that. Ed's here. He'll take his time. So I'll take Ed on a little bit later. I also wanted to answer a question that we got in, a really great question that I got in this week about client consulting. And also, if I get the chance, Jim, I'd love to bring Jim Messenger on again to talk a little bit more about affiliate marketing, a little bit more about e-commerce. So Jim, if you're on just for a few minutes and you've got to bounce out, then let me know as well, because I'd love to have you live as well. we'll try to pack everything in. So what I want to do, without further ado, is bring the man of the moment on. Let me bring on David Hood. David, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, great. You've gotten a lot of great feedback about this module that we put together.
Yeah, it makes me feel great about myself and what we've done because we worked really hard on it.
Yeah, we did. Now, let me ask you this. What are some of the things that you've heard from people, if it just kind of pops to the top of your mind?
I think you said it to me at one point, which is that it kind of demystifies the whole process. A lot of people are afraid of taking action. They're afraid of being rejected or afraid that people are going to yell at them or whatever, or afraid that they just don't know what to do and that they're going to stumble. And it's a lot easier than you think. And I think that's one thing that
you were particularly in a case. I want to kind of foreshadow a little something that David Mills is going to be really focusing on inside of your Project X members area over the next days to come. One of the things we really want to do, David Mills, David Hood's a big law of implication guy himself, and one of the things that David focuses on in law of implication. We've talked about this before, and it's actually in your blueprint. It's so important that I made sure to include it, which is understanding vectors. And we have this whole thing that I had in your perfect storm guide. These kind of red arrows that are here are these kind of distracting vectors. That they're these forces or pulls in our life that can really get us off track. And the green ones are kind of our money-getting vectors. And we don't want to just get our money-getting vectors straight. We want to do that and get them straight and add on to them. But we also want to kind of diminish the power, kind of erase away these negative and confusing vectors. And one of the things that to kind of foreshadow a little bit that David Mills is going to be sharing with you, and this is something I think that David Hood does excellently. I think one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have David here is not just because of his excellent technical success when it comes to implementing Project X and taking his own spin on it, taking it to the next level. But what's also exciting for me is the way that David, and I want you to kind of like listen between the lines. Please listen to David's attitudes, David's deeper beliefs when it comes to going for clients and working on clients. Now he's working on his own products as well. And I want you to kind of listen kind of in between the lines, what must be true in order for David to sound the way that he sounds, in order for David Hood to sound the way that he sounds, in order for him to take the actions that he's taking. There has to be a certain fearlessness. And again, it's not so much, we really want to, as much as possible, start getting rid of these bad feelings that we have, these bad vectors that are kind of tying us down. This isn't a bunch of frou-frou stuff. This is a very technical course. We have a lot of step-by-step detailed information in here, but you can also kind of step-by-step get rid of like these negative feelings that can kind of get in the way and be attached to like one of the big things that people have a fear of just going out there and going after clients or even just getting a website up. It's a very understandable fear. It doesn't make me want to yell at you or anything like that, but but I want you to do it. I do want you to go for it. David, you had a little bit of a tech background. You're an engineer, but in terms of doing, it's kind of funny. Like somebody could look at your previous career, which must seem light years ago for you at this point.
Oh my goodness, yes. It's basically almost exactly 2 years ago.
But just 2 years ago, and you were an engineer. But as we look inside of all this stuff, David, as we look over this together, acquisition, making an actual phone call to a client, pricing, client fulfillment, your pricing templates, all this stuff here, it's probably not very similar to the kind of work that you're doing as an engineer, even though somebody might mistakenly think like, oh, well, you're an engineer, so that's kind of the same thing. You and I are both Magic the Gathering players, so we used to play the game Magic the Gathering. I mean, yeah, there's some fundamentals that are similar from Magic to internet marketing, but it's not like you build a PBN to be able to have a Magic deck, or that you build it's really very different skill sets. I mean, do you find that the skill sets that you're applying now that are making you so much money, they're very different than the skill sets that you were applying with your job just 2 years ago?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be underlying basic principles that I learned just by being exposed to like a massive business. But other than that, I feel like you could read a book or even a couple of articles, spend a day or two, and have the same kind of understanding that I got from 6.5 years for working for a big corporation. So,
Right, right.
it was not nearly focused, and to be honest, one of the reasons I hated working for a big corporation was that there's not a whole lot of learning opportunities, and basically I kind of did the same things over and over and over again. Yeah, I'm really good at Excel, which is I spent a ton of my time in Excel, but there's really only, I'd say 99% of my productivity comes from like 5 different things in Excel that you could figure out in 20 minutes.
Right.
So
yes,
yeah,
so it's not like some big barrier to entry with this stuff. Because
I'm actually not good at selling. Or at least I didn't think I would. I have an old friend who about 6 months ago said he's known me since high school, actually since elementary school, and he said, you know what, if you told me that you would make money by convincing people to give you money as an adult, I would have told you you're crazy. So
right.
I don't think that just because you're an introvert or because you're afraid of it, because I still, I mean, unless someone calls me, I'm afraid, not afraid, but there's definitely some fearful emotions that enter my brain every time I try to talk to someone who I'm trying to sell.
Yeah.
So my job wasn't selling at all, and a very large percentage of what I do now is selling. And if you're just committed to learning how to do it and making it something that fits who you are and how the life you want to live, you'll get there at some point. Your success is inevitable if you're determined to get there.
Yeah, my woman pointed out yesterday that she was out getting cupcakes or something like that. She was like, look, what we do with Nashville SEO, everybody needs it. I mean, it's the strangest thing, right? But you go out there, and it's not like you're sitting around and you have some kind of like useless junk that you're trying to push on, like trying to get somebody to buy, right? There's the whole kind of I'm not saying that Amway's bad at all, like the whole MLM Amway thing, but the idea where you'd be in a conversation with somebody and the next thing you know, they're like, yeah, do you like plates? And you're like, yeah, I guess I like plates. And they're like, you should get Amway plates, or it's just like, okay, like this just got weird.
Like plates. Yeah. It's not like that. And I mean, unless you are, maybe there might be some conversations that make you uncomfortable, or you're going to make mistakes and you're going to be exposed to being uncomfortable, but that's the commitment that you have to make in order to be successful. You're going to try things and you're going to fail. And if you accept that fact, then it makes it a lot easier to be like, sometimes I'm just going to fall on my face, because if I don't ever fall on my face, then I'm not trying hard enough at life.
Yeah, and let me ask you this, the times when you've gone after a client getting money, did your arm fall off? Did it just like poof, like fall off, and then it's on the floor and you're like, dang it, I lost my arm.
Yeah, it happened the other day. Yeah. Nothing that I couldn't come back from.
Yeah.
The worst thing is you feel bad for about 20 seconds until you go to someone else and someone else says yes, and then you like, wow, that was totally 100 million times worth it to go through 10, not even 10 no's, maybe 3 or 4 no's to get somebody who's genuinely interested. We're like, wow, I really need your help. And there's so many people out there who don't know anything about SEO and they're selling SEO.
I love what you're saying, and the targeting, like really understanding that they really need your help, because it's funny. It's like it's the weirdest thing, but like even with us sharing Project X, I'm very aware of it, that it's just not for most people, and which is fine with me. I just don't know what to say. Like, if somebody's out there and they're looking for, push button bazillions on Twitter or whatever, that's fine. It's just not what we're doing. And it just doesn't bother me at all. I don't feel like it's a rejection. Like it's just not us, but then plenty of people do want to do it, and plenty of people want domination. It's funny, people who don't want search engine domination, I just don't want to do business with them. Something that David Mills pointed out to me, that there was it was a while back. I was working with an affiliate, like somebody who's promoting one of our products, and the guy, he was a smaller affiliate, and I'd kind of given him a shot and tried to really work with him to help him get a good promotion together. And he just went berserk over some small detail. It was the strangest thing. And David Mills was like, that's why his business is small. He was like, it's not that he just got unlucky and had this small, like little runty business. It's that he has bad assumptions about how to do business, and it bogs him down, and so things don't go well for him. And these businesses, people who don't want search SEO from you, there's a good chance they're not a good business person. Like there's a good chance that their business is not going to be around 2 years from now. And don't be surprised. And I'm not saying you should sit around and wish them bad things. I'm just saying that, like, look, going into things, somebody who gets lots and lots of visitors from the search engines is much more likely to make more money going into the future and be a good client. So I think that there's so many reasons not to worry about client getting. And I can relate this a little bit back to affiliate marketing. And I always try to touch on both affiliate marketing and client getting, and also working with your own products in these events. But I want to get a little bit technical here, David. And I'm actually curious. I should have probably given you like a little bit of advance notice on this. What I'd like to do is get into a question that we got from Wayhan. And Wayhan's a new project Xer, and he's really fired up about going out and getting clients. He has wonderful energy for this stuff. And he was approaching a client this week, and he ran into a question where the client asked him, well, okay, Wayhan, I'm really glad to meet you. I'm excited about what you're talking about. What else can you do for me? And this wasn't a mean question. It wasn't, a standoffish question, but because fundamentally what you're doing, David, what you do when you're approaching a client fundamentally is you're going out there and saying, I'm going to do Project X for you, right? Like they don't have to buy Project X. They don't have to go through and open up the blueprint and go through all the links and details. They don't have to build a PBN. They don't have to, figure out how to work the vSilo plugin. They don't have to do any of that stuff. You'll do it for them, and then you're going to charge them for it. I mean, at some level, at least a good part of what you're selling is doing Project X for the client.
Yes.
And that can be broken down. Like for example, part of one of the things that you do during the sales process, which I absolutely love, is looking at a website and analyzing it. And that's a point of value. Let me ask folks in the audience, how many people would love to see David take a look at a website and kind of get underneath the hood of it? We can maybe try to peer pressure him into it a little
Pun
bit.
intended.
Yeah. Yeah, we got. I don't know if you see all the peer pressure there in the inbox.
Let's see.
Mike Hayden's trying to egg you on. If you guys want to do peer pressure, because one thing that I can do is Lauren wants to. Let's see, Melanie. All right. Wow, we got a lot of people that want to see this. All right. Oh, Angela actually typed in pressure. So that is actual, and Angela gave you a RAR as well. So Angela, by the way, is also in Dallas, David. It's funny, because Angela was saying, she was like, I just don't know if I can do, and it was a valid question. It was a great question, very smart question. She's like, hey, isn't Dallas all taken up? Because I know that David Hood's there. He's taking up, probably 75% of the market. And then Becker probably has the other 25% of the market.
Right.
No,
oh my God, the market is so huge. Don't think that because I'm here you can't be successful. It's so not true. I mean, I understand it's just one thing. If you run the numbers, you'll realize that there's enough. If everyone in Project X were in Dallas, there might be definitely be some overlap, but there'd still be enough for everyone to make a full-time income.
I love you saying that. That's a very smart statement, and I think that's something that people can really take to the bank. And again, even if you're just focused on affiliate marketing, there's no reason not to go for multiple streams of income. I just had, in fact, you know what, David? Let's get into something. Is there a way for you? Can you clear off your desktop so I can feed you a website and you can get down and dirty and kind of look under the hood of this website?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, let me pull this up. I think it's called Tennessee Contractors.com. Yeah, that's the name of the site. It's got lightning bolts on it. I can talk a little bit about Tennessee Contractors.com.
I hope I spelled Tennessee right. I don't think I did. I feel like I should know how to spell that.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let me see. If I go Tennessee.
Okay. I think I did spell it. Contractors.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to find,
Mm,
make sure I find the actual website name. Oh, I know. I've got it on my my cell phone. This is actually somebody who I did a client meeting with yesterday. And so this is real stuff. One of the things we try to do as much as possible is really show you the real stuff that's going on. Oh, sorry, it's Tennessee Contracting,
okay.
TennesseeContracting.com. So as much as possible, we really try to take you under the hood of what we're doing right now. And so this is as real as it gets. And David's going to take us underneath the hood and how he analyzes a website, how he thinks about it, what tools he uses, and so forth, so you can see it. And then there you go. It's a little bit duplicable. So Dave, can I make you the presenter? Is what's on your
Yeah,
screen?
go for
Are you presentable?
it.
All right, making David the presenter there.
Can you see my screen?
We can now see your screen.
All
And
right, so I've got a quick
maybe I
script.
can talk to maybe I'll bring Mike Hayden live in a few minutes, and we'll talk about what this website could look like. All right, go ahead, David.
Okay, so you want me to do like an analysis of this domain?
Yeah, I would love. I think
Okay,
that people would
yeah.
love that. I think people would love
Okay,
that.
so I've got a quick script that saves me time for every time I look at somebody where I just put in the domain.
Oh, and remember, as
Can,
much as possible, go crazy with Control Plus.
okay. If anybody has trouble, just let me. I guess I don't.
In advance, I guarantee you, people will have trouble, at least on the replay
Okay.
and so forth, seeing it.
All right. So let's say this client calls me and says, "Hey, I'm interested," or even I approach them and maybe I meet them in a networking meeting, or I send direct mail to them, or there's tons and tons of different ways. Whatever. There's four main things that I start with. First of all, I look at the website, but I always like to see is there age to it, and so you can see who is, and then you put the domain in, and you can see their creation date. And
Yeah, this is whois.com.
I think right now age is a huge part of the algorithm. I think that with the Penguin 2 and Penguin 2.1, where Google basically boosted up sites they trust, I feel like age is a huge part of the algorithm of trust. And I just noticed that older sites tend to rank better. And 2010 it's not brand new, but it's also not super old. It's good enough to where we could rank them. But if they had a site that was 3 months old, that would be something a big negative in my mind. So that's one thing I want to look for. And then I'm going to look at Ahrefs, and I'm going to see if I think that they're doing SEO. I'm guessing not if they've only got 10 different referring domains. So they haven't hired someone to do SEO. I'm going to look for over-optimized anchor text because definitely don't want to work on a domain that has
Definitely Control Plus on the Ahrefs.
Okay.
If possible.
Yeah, let me maximize this so we can. Okay. So hopefully everybody can see that, and I don't really think that they're doing SEO. I mean, they've got so few links. The only thing is that right here, now that I notice it, is they got 52% of their anchor text is Tennessee Contracting Services.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the crazy thing is he is doing SEO.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They haven't hired someone, but I bet this is an amateur job. A lot of times you'll see this.
The crazy thing is he's got a guy who he thinks he's a good SEO expert.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
and this is, by the way, this is great food for thought because you see what David's thinking. David's like, there's no way a pro SEO is working on this. Why? Because David's got his head in Project X land, and this is somebody who's been paid month after month to do SEO for this guy, and actually gotten some results from it. And there's sort of like reason after reason after reason why you should also do SEO consulting and day job killer stuff because it's just so possible.
Right, and I would confirm like any of that with SEMrush. I love SEMrush. It's definitely not perfect. It takes time to update, and it misses a lot of like low volume keywords. But what it does have for you is I can see a history for a domain, which you just can't do otherwise. And also it'll give you a real quick insider. If someone's ranking really well for big terms, you'll know right away. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, he's not really ranking. I would think that because it's basically there's only one what I would call rich anchor text. I guess there's another two, but that's kind of the same thing. If this is his brand,
yeah, it might almost be the branding of it because it's TCS.
Then that would be fine. So I would look at this, and it does look like, okay, Tennessee Contracting Services.
But the thing about this is the weirdest thing about the whole thing is that there's no targeted anchor text on here at all. Like we can come in and go after, because this guy wants to go after roofing. So if we fire a PBN link that just says, Nashville roofing.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna do something.
Yeah, definitely. And so let's check out this stuff real quick. Because I also, okay, so he's got a little bit of anchor text. Let's just see what it's like. Tennessee. Okay. Contracting. I forgot. This browser is the search function is messed up, even though I reinstalled it. Okay, so let's go to this one. Contracting. That's a hidden link. I'm not sure, or maybe it's like in one of these scrolling sponsors.
Do you want to open up the maybe open up the page source?
Yeah, we can do that. Well, it's more just what kind of. So it looks like it's there because it's probably hidden behind here. What kind of link is this? Tennessee Real Estate Investors Association.
It's a paid link.
It's a paid link. Oh goodness, this guy's paying like a recurring fee, or maybe a sizable one-time fee. That's actually, I mean, I find that to be quite humorous. Even though I'm not laughing, at the same time, it's just, let's go to domains, since it looks like there's, like, he pays for a link that goes across a bunch of stuff. Okay, TLC Roofing. Whoops.
Integrity to roofing by selling links.
Right.
To the highest bidder.
Huh, what was the anchor text? Let's go back here. Tennessee Contracting Services. And this is where I might have to do the view source if I can't just find it real quick. Let's see.
And is this interesting for to people like watching David kind of do a site analysis and kind of David Hood under the hood, as Edgar says it? By the way, David, we had a couple of fellow engineers in the audience that they got excited. Yeah, listen to this feedback. This is great. I mean, people are excited about you taking a look at this. I've got.
Did I click on? I never really. Do I? Oh, go to the questions pane because all I see is this little tiny thing right here. Can I expand that somehow?
Yeah, I mean, you generally have to scroll. Yeah, I know it's a really active audience. If you guys would just be less active and just kind of zone out, you'd make it a lot easier for David here. Everyone just being all interested and sharing their thank yous and just a little confusing for David.
Okay, and now I just closed it. Yeah. What? Thank you, Mike. Okay, so this one doesn't even look like it's there anymore. So I mean, like. Here's what I would say. Here's what I've said a lot of times when I'm doing an analysis, and I'll shoot a video and kind of talk exactly like I'm talking to you now. As I would say, you know, if he hasn't told me already, a lot of times I ask, sometimes I don't ask. I would say, I'm guessing that you're not paying someone to do SEO for you, and if you are, they're not doing the whole piece of the puzzle. We go to his website, Tennessee Contract. If he's going after roofing, okay, the person he's hiring, I would definitely conclude at this point that he's not hiring someone for SEO. Because the number one thing on a single page that affects what it ranks for is the title of the page, by far and away. Like you have the structure of the site, which is like setting it up in a silo form, and then the title of the page. That the structure of the site has more to do with sort of like how everything pieces together. But when you come to an individual page and what it ranks for, the title of the page blows every other metric out of the water. And so if he's trying to rank for roofing and he doesn't have roofing on the home page, and maybe he's got on the products and services. Nope, he's got a little kind of like a I can't remember what you call it, like a tag or something.
Yeah, that's just a named anchor. Which
I don't know what
named anchors can be powerful, but it's weird to leave that on the table.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if he's got a page for roofing or a section.
And how many people here are interested in watching like? This is interesting to me because again, this guy's had a paid SEO consultant who he has been. Well, I mean, he was satisfied until he contacted me, right? Like, but
well, is he getting any results? How is he satisfied?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, he ranks for a couple things here and there, but it's certainly not bringing him a lot of traffic. I mean, what's your feeling here? Do you think that somebody who's in the audience right now? Watching this event, who's never done client consulting, but who's a member of Project X, do you think that they could possibly do as good of a job of SEO has been done on this site?
Absolutely. I mean, because they've done nothing. I bet what he's doing is he's showing them his brand name and going, "Hey, look, you're ranking for your brand name. Woo!" And I think that's what a lot of people do. And it's like, okay, well, you should be able to rank for your brand name in half a second without even trying.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I'm looking at the on page and I'm shocked. And I'm shocked that they paid him any. Maybe he's like paying him like a couple $100 a month, and he's really doing nothing, and he just bought a couple links, and then he's going to see what happens from there. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no off page. Now maybe, okay, here's the one caveat to it. If maybe there's someone, if the on page was good and I didn't see a whole lot of links here, it could still be like Greg or somebody hiding the links. That's possible. But in that case, he would have rankings.
Right.
And unless there's some
and serious rankings, not just little rankings here and there. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. He would probably rank. I mean, it's he would at least have something to show. And SEMrush goes to the first 2 pages, and so I would think that in a city like Tennessee, for something like roofing, you could at least be on the second page for something of value. And the fact that he's not, I'm inclined to believe that he's not hiding anything, and he's just bought a couple links and he doesn't know. Between you and me, I mean, I feel like he's kind of being almost unethical, but at the same time, I would never tell that to a client. You never want to. You don't want to. You want to. You want to underhandedly trash the other person, but at the same, you don't want to come out and say this person's shit. This person's all right. This person does not know anything about SEO. But what I would do is I could say, look, if he hadn't already told me, has he already told you that he has someone doing SEO?
Yeah, he already told me that.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
So I would say, look, I just honestly, I think this guy's missing several pieces of the puzzle, and I would blatantly tell them in the video. I'd be like, look, the number one thing that affects how a page ranks on your site is the title of your page, and there's no titles of pages in here that have roofing. And if that's your main target market, that's just a gimme. Like it takes 5 minutes to update this to Tennessee roofing or roofing Nashville, and that right there is going to immediately make a difference in your rankings. Now, it's probably not going to rank you number 1, but the fact that that's not there, I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he's I don't think he's really providing the level of service that he should. And what I would do is I'd bring up that click-through rate thing that we uploaded into the module, and I would show, look, here's the difference between the value of mediocre SEO and really good SEO. And I think off the top of my head, you're not even number 7, but let's say he were able to get you to number 7. That's the best he could do, which I would guess is being generous.
Yeah,
the value of being number 1 versus number 7 is like 20 to 40 times more. And so, which one would you rather have, and how much more would you rather? It's not going to cost you 40 times more, probably, unless the guy's charging you, $50 a month. In which case, you just might as well be giving that to charity.
Yeah.
And you say it. It's also in the way you say it. I try to always be in the mode of I'm a consultant, and I'm just going to be honest and blatant with you. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be able to solve everything and do everything perfectly for you. But that's not what, obviously, if they're intelligent business owner at all, they're going to understand, well, of course, nobody's going to be perfect, and I'm not going to be able to guarantee 100% everything. But at the same time, this is something that is, this is one of the worst I've ever seen. And maybe someone hasn't told me that they had someone doing SEO, and it's been like this. But usually when I see someone doing SEO that is not Project X or doesn't really know what they're doing, it'll be something like this, or maybe they'll have a handful of okay anchors, and then the on page will be decent. Like, it won't be great. They usually won't have silos, but at least they'll have Nashville roofing, which is what they're trying to target, and they'll have some page 2 rankings. But in this case, you don't even have that. So I would just be like, look, I don't think this. I would ask him.
This is a little bit of a facepalm moment for the poor SEO consultant. But what can you do? He should have gotten into Project X. But the thing is that the funny thing is, and almost the weird thing is that so much of your competition out there isn't that much better than this SEO guy is. Because like David's pointing out, yeah, he's missing some main basics. But even once they take care of those main basics, like getting that title tag in place, maybe getting a couple more links, yeah, they can get you onto page 2 or the bottom of page 1. But really where people want to be, and David, where you're getting your clients is the top of page 1. And, I mean, that's a really, really different feeling.
Yeah.
Like when you're coming into things, I mean, here you are, you're a guy who 2 years ago, you were in a cubicle being an engineer, and now you're a Top Gun SEO expert. Like, what does that feel like walking around? Like, when you walk into a business, when a roofer comes over to work on your house, and he says, can you, oh wow, what do you do? And you do SEO. Well, could you help me? Like, what's your internal feeling? Like, what are some of the thoughts that go through your mind?
My internal feeling is I know I can help them better than just about anyone else. If they could somehow find Greg or Jimmy or whatever, then yeah, okay. So I'm not the best in the world, but I feel like I have like I feel like 99% of people in SEO for some reason still don't know about PBNs, and then 99% of the people that do know about PBNs have no clue how to use them. So
Right.
I feel like at a minimum, 1/10 of 1% of the people are I'm better than 99.9% of the people out there, and I don't where exactly does that stop? I don't know, and I can always just say, and it's just like, look, Dallas SEO expert. And just search it up. Okay, you can search it up. Oh man, somehow this guy, maybe a Project Xer.
Yeah, that's that video for we saw that. That's the guy.
I was number 1 and number 2 for this for a really long time.
Yeah.
And dirty apes. So at least I'm still number 1, and I don't think that I don't think this guy is going to be able to overtake me. Maybe he will, but it'll be I doubt it. But I'm still I can still do.
Did you just hit? And you also actually just hit for Texas SEO expert
Yep.
as well.
Austin, number 1 and number 2 for Austin, number 1 for Texas, and I've had someone say, "Oh, that's BS." That's real easy to rank for, and it has no value. Well, first of all, there's several things wrong with that. First of all, okay, there's one bit of truth in it, which is that is it easier to rank for Dallas SEO expert than Dallas SEO? Yeah, definitely. But is it real easy? Absolutely not. It's not real easy. You couldn't just do it overnight for a big city SEO expert. Second of all, the other thing that's wrong with it is misunderstanding potential clients' perceptions of how much they understand SEO.
No, a potential client just thinks that you're Buddha on the mountaintop, and they're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's they might understand that this doesn't get searched a ton, but even then, the way most people think about the search engines is I type in something and Google gives me what's most relevant to it. And so if I'm looking at who's the biggest SEO expert in Dallas, and I type in Dallas SEO expert, it's got to be this guy.
And it really levels the playing field, like the kind of things, the kind of knowledge and understanding that you're getting from Project X, and having these various things. It could be ranking number 1 for your city SEO or your city SEO expert. It can just be having that internal knowledge, or just being able to show off our sites. We allow you to show Nashville SEO, the search results for that, and the search results for Waterdam and St. George. Paul Donnelly asked a really great question here. What's your take on larger businesses that have an internet team involved with SEO or engaging a larger agency, but they're not delivering? What angles work?
Let's see. I created a video for this a long time ago, and here it is right here. Okay, so I kind of have a spiel. It kind of upsets me to my core. Basically was an efficiency engineer, and inefficiencies in my life and specifically in the world also just kind of bother me on a fundamental level. And I feel like it's like for the price of less than one of those people you pay a full-time income for, you could get far greater results from me. And so I see there's a lot of companies that do have these big in-house teams. They've got like 3 or 4 or 5 people who have never ranked a site personally. And someone like me also, this is one thing I tell them, like, look, you could never hire me for a full-time income. It just wouldn't be possible. I mean, yeah, okay, you offer me $3 million a year or whatever, okay, I'm going to consider it. But at the same time, like, they could pay me $4,000 or $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month and get way more results. It just has to do with it's complicated. I explain it in this video, and I talk about a lot about there's certain things resources that I use across many clients, and a lot of the people that, again, if someone is really good at SEO, they're not going to accept a job for $40,000 or $50,000, even $70,000. I mean, I've had people offer me like I think like $80,000. I'm just like, no, like it's
no
like
way.
not even like a
it's not even tempting.
Right. I think I have the potential to make that in a single month at some point this year, and so it's just like, why would I even?
Yeah, and from home without a boss telling you what. I mean, that boss factor is really a really huge thing for us. I mean, most people who are involved in this.
Oh yeah.
Let me
especially for, I mean, being able to be free because one of the biggest things about what makes you happy and unhappy at a job is how good your boss is. And if you have a good boss now, that's great. And I had a good boss. Then he moved up somewhere else, and the person they put in the place was crappy. She had no clue what she was doing, and it showed in how she tried to manage. And also just not having direction over your day-to-day activities. Having to drive in. I do have an office because I have 2 young children that I kind of need to separate myself to focus, but it's 5 minutes away, like one major intersection from my house. So I don't
Yeah,
have
and
a
you don't have
commute.
like some big office that you're renting out. I'm sure.
No
I'm
commute.
sure.
I don't have to drive for 45 minutes each way. I hate commuting. If I don't want to do something and it's any specific day, I don't have to do it. If a client pisses me off or they're mean or whatever, I can just tell them to take a walk. And I've done that in the past, and it's just like, look, I choose to live the way I want to live.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that, when you go to business for yourself, it's a lot less risky. And while there's some truth to that, once you get yourself established, it's much less risky because instead of having one client, your current employer,
Right.
you have 10, 15, you have however, is with regards to this, however many clients you have. So if you get fired by one, you still have the other ones to go.
Yeah, yeah. You don't. The point is that you just don't have, and this is a big thing for Greg. You just don't have much focus into like kissing butt to keep
right.
your
And
job.
so I would. And here's something I'm trying, and I've tried a couple of times, but I haven't really. I'm going to try it again. But a lot of times I see there's those job ads for SEO people, and I'm going to start creating a couple videos for them and just be like, look, this is really inefficient.
No, I actually really want to talk. It's a really great point. I was hoping to bring Donna Nelson live today. I don't think she's going to be able to make it out, but she's been doing incredible stuff on Craigslist, just pitching people on web design on Craigslist. In her first month in OMG, just short of $10,000. We're getting so many great questions for you from the audience. Jana, I want to maybe bring some people live to be able to ask David questions directly. Jana, do you have a microphone on? Let's find out. I can always make her live, and we'll find out. Let's see here. Unmuting Jana. Jana, are you there? Do you have a microphone? No microphone. All right. I will read Jana's question here. So Jana wants to know. She actually had a couple questions. How long does it take to rank for a City Plus SEO expert?
It really depends on your city. I think that let's see. The Austin one, when I knew more what I was doing, I actually bought the site, set it up, and did just like a couple things, and then let it sit there for 3 months. But once I went after it, it only took a couple months. And Austin's a pretty decent sized city. You could do it with videos and maybe rank a lot faster, and maybe that's what that other guy's trying to do. It's a tough question to answer. I think that with the Austin one, actually, I was on the first page in like less than a month, but I did everything. I feel like I did everything right, to get there, and I got a really good domain to start with, and so. But that's a tough question. I'm kind of trying to dance around it being like it really depends on a lot of factors.
All right, great. It took us.
Hey, Mike,
yeah.
How many people are in this webinar?
About 100.
About 100. I kind of want to show something, but I don't want too many people to see it.
Well, you can show it. Let's see it. You can't say something like that and not show it.
All right. So I've been experimenting with something lately, and for the first time, with less than an hour's work and less than $20, I blanketed the first page completely. The whole first page for a search phrase.
Let's see it.
Okay. Broken wrist surgery, Dallas, Texas. This phone number is mine. Every single one of these is mine.
So how'd you do it?
Well, I want to see how far it goes first. Okay, so top 11. All right.
So top 11.
You can see that it's all these are. Well, it comes down to finding the golden nuggets out there and using. This is something that's really good to leverage to get clients. You can just take a video and rank it number 1 for something really quickly. Now, the most important thing with this is not knowing how to do SEO. It's knowing how to do detailed keyword research and find opportunities that other people are not targeting.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, broken wrist surgery, go put this in the Google keyword tool, and it shows 0. But I guarantee you that there are actually people searching this
Sure.
because you can. So doing the right keyword research and then with videos essentially.
So what did you do with videos? Like what was your linking method here?
No, there's no links. Maybe a little bit of links. Just again, it's more about targeting the right search phrases and setting the videos up right.
So show us how you set up the videos. And we can just look at it ourselves because it's all just on YouTube. You may as well show it off. Spill the beans.
I mean, I have a whole module in Alpha where I talk about exactly what over the shoulder how I do this, but basically what you do is set up one main video and then I do a video distribution I created 2 videos. You can see there's basically 2 videos, and I created 2 videos and uploaded one of them to my own YouTube account, and the other ones are supposed to link to there, but I think my guy actually messed it up. If you click here, I don't think the links, I think he messed up the links and to where they're not clickable. So, but at the same time, but it doesn't, it's more about finding the right keywords. So like broken wrist surgery without the Dallas, Texas modifier, you can look to see, well, how much does that get searched nationally? And it gets searched, I don't know, several hundred times a month, which is,
right.
Not nothing. And when you think about it, there's also broken wrist surgeon. I'm not sure if I have every position. Okay, I do have every position. So there's a bunch of different variations. So Google might show, okay, there's no search volume for this. But even then, even if there was no search volume, you could take this to a client and say, actually I had the top, within 48 hours I had the top 4 results. Within 24 hours, you can see I uploaded this like a week ago.
Yeah.
So this is how you could get.
So this, but this is all on page. So you're doing the geo targeting. Obviously, you're going to click that advanced tab and make sure that it's geo targeted to Dallas. You got to have your keywords correct. And then, how many different channels do you have this on?
Oh, I don't know. I did this guy. Actually, the video distribution video is ranking above. This is my video right here. I think he does 50 video submissions.
Is this like a Fiverr job?
Gig. I just paid $5 for it.
So it's a Fiverr gig. That's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, it's a Fiverr video distribution gig.
Do you have the name of the specific guy who does that, or really will any Fiverr distribution gig work?
Yeah, there's a handful of ones that I use. You can just search video distribution on Fiverr and look for the people who have good reviews. Their video distribution. Their search is terrible, so
yeah.
I know that maybe it's video distribution. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I don't see it. Let's do what's some of the lesser video sites? Meta, was it Meta?
Yeah, Meta Cafe. Yeah.
Meta Cafe.
Yeah, really, YouTube can be such a great way to get in the game when it comes to
and you wouldn't have to spend months waiting for SEO expert if you did this. Now there's the plus side to the SEO expert is it works for everybody in your area, or basically everybody. I can tell #1 for Dallas SEO expert, #1 for Dallas SEO expert, any niche. But with this, you actually have an asset, which is that this is probably I haven't checked, but this is probably generating calls. Now it's not going to generate 5 calls a day, but it might generate 2 to 5 calls a month, which is extremely valuable to a surgeon. Because I mean, how much is a broken wrist surgery? How much are they going to make on a broken wrist surgery?
Oh, sure, yeah, it can
several $1,000s at least, maybe $5,000 to $10,000. That's what I would expect. And so if I can get them 1 new customer a month, I'm making them $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Do you think they'd be willing to pay $500?
Well, and this kind of gets more. I'm really glad that we're getting into this because the more we look at the different things that you can do for clients, this is just an example of a small thing that you can do for clients to either acquire a client or to add, to tack things on for a client. But there's so many different things that we can do for a client. We can do on-site, on-page stuff where we're working on tuning up their page. We learn the vSilo plugin. We can add silos to their website. We can do video for them. We can do video syndication for them. Different kinds of video rankings. We can do all the social domination. There's so many. Maybe try submission?
I did submission. Let's do
video submission.
We'll just try just submission.
There's syndication also is another possibility.
Okay, I think this is actually the same guy. But I think if you don't get his this one right here,
yeah,
then he puts it all in the same account.
Oh, okay. So who's
so
what's the name of this guy? This is Anwar Hul Hassan. Can you do the Control Plus thing so we can really see that well, and then someone can look him up? Yeah,
but there's a ton of people out there, and it looks like we found it. So,
great.
You just want somebody with good reviews. You don't want to use the same. Here's another guy that I've used in the past. Here we go. Here's another one. Here's another one. The difference between 20 and 50 is pretty much nothing because they're gonna go with the highest ones first, and those are the ones that are gonna rank anyways. Here's the other great thing about it: if they set up the links properly, which doesn't look like he did, you can actually use these other ones as sort of link laundering.
Yeah.
So that your main video stays safe. You can spam the crap out of these other ones.
Yeah.
And it helps your video rank even better. So if you don't rank right away, then you could. So this goes back to the city SEO question.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait.
And I really recommend that people just play around with some of this stuff because just doing something, getting in the game, it makes such a difference. This is, again, I'm a little bit foreshadowing what David Mills is going to be talking about in the days to come. Really just getting out there and just trying something and scratching the record a little bit. Now, we had Angela has been asking a lot of questions. I wanted to see, maybe I can bring Angela live and she can actually ask her questions live. But she was asking how long has David been doing this and some stuff like that. So I'm going to try to bring Angela live so she can, as much as possible, I try to bring people live, let their voice be heard. Angela, are you there? Angela's like, didn't have my microphone. I think Angela's got to be Blue Yeti. She mentioned it to me the other day. Angela, are you there? All right, I will try to, once again, I will try to answer Angela or ask Angela's question in her place. So Angela wants to know how long you've been doing this and how you're getting your clients.
So how long I've been doing client getting?
Yep. Okay,
so here's a little bit of the timeline. Maybe I can do Notepad. So it was like March 2012, quit job. All right. I actually had a website that was getting like 14,000 visitors a month, but it was like with the crappiest SEO you've ever heard. It was like just a bunch of profile links, which don't really work right now.
Right.
About April 2012, my main site that was making me about $1,000 a month got penalized. And then about June-ish of 2012, I decided to do local SEO, and there was a different product that I bought that was more focused on selling SEO, and I really didn't make any money. And then like November, like late November, early December.
Yeah, that's when you joined NHB.
This is NHB, okay. And immediately that month, I started Dallas, my Dallas SEO Geek site. I had already bought the domain about a year prior, which with the plans of doing it at some point. But at this point, I saw, I saw an opportunity, and I went ahead and said, this goes back to what you were saying about you don't just open one thread, you open a bunch of threads, and I worked on this over the course of several months, off and on. Like sometimes it ranked pretty well right out of the gate, like a lot of like third page rankings. I think I was on the third or fourth page for Dallas SEO almost immediately, and that gave me a lot of hope. And it was hard, there'd be times where it wouldn't move up at all, and then it would move up, and so, but really, like January of 2013, I was out of money, basically, and So that was tough because I knew that I had the skills, and then I think it was like about I think it was late April, early May. Um, late April, early May. Late April, early May. Number one for Dallas SEO expert. And
And
basically at that point,
you earned some money in between January and April. I mean, I know because I had earnings reports
yeah,
from you.
I think like
Probably
my
like
earnings in January and
couple
February were
thousand
just like
bucks.
a couple thousand, and then in March, I think my earnings were like 13.7.
Yeah,
So
because
even
it really went
before,
up. Yeah.
yeah, like 13.7K. And this was before I had these kind of rankings. So it is possible without this. But having something like this, I mean, and Mike, do you mind if I plug my
No, please do.
alpha just real
Yeah, please
briefly?
do.
Okay. And in my alpha destruction product, one of the core things that I like to do is I think the SEO expert thing, and I know I talk about it all the time, but it can be so central to everything that you make money off because such a valuable asset in every piece of your business. Every time I talk to anybody, I mention this. Because it's an immediate. Most people out there think, well, SEO doesn't work, or they tried it and they had someone who didn't work for them. So you can do it without it, but life is so much easier with this. And so how do I make my money? You know, most of the people since then, when they call me, um, they find my site, they search me up, and they call me. The sales process is 10,000 times easier. Now I'm still experimenting with ways to approach people for my alpha destruction product and just in general for fun. And by having this, it still gives me a leg up. It's still better if they call me, but at the same time, like I found, like most of my best customers come from me calling them. I mean, from them calling me, because they found you. They called you up. They were looking for the expert, and you actually proved to them that you can do what they're doing without you even trying.
And
But ever since,
Jen's asking a good question. She said, so it takes 4 months to rank. Jenna, to give you an idea, we started Greg me and Greg started working on Nashville SEO in August, and by November we were number one. So that was August,
yeah,
September, October, November. It was like 3 months. It sounds like 4 months, but really by the beginning of November, we were either number two or number one, or maybe we were number one and number two, and that's really competitive. So this is David's kind of talking about when he was just getting started. David, you actually didn't. I mean, you were just getting started with PBN stuff.
yeah,
Like,
I didn't have a very big PBN. I had a very small one. Not only that, but I didn't work on it straight for 4 months. I gave up on it. I would stop working on it for 2 or 3 weeks at a
yeah,
time.
I had to yell at you.
But no, not my PBNs. This Dallas SEO expert site.
Oh,
First of all,
right.
Dallas is the 10th biggest city in the nation, so it's going to be more competitive. I was on the first page within a few weeks with Austin SEO expert, and then I just stopped working on it because I didn't care. I had other things I wanted to do, and then
Yeah.
when I went back to doing it again, within like a month or two, I was number one for Austin SEO expert.
Jenna
So
wants to know how long in general does it take you to rank client sites?
man, that varies dramatically
Yeah, it really
on
does.
where they are, how much they pay you, how much they've done. You know, there's a lot of situations that can be helpful to you, and there's a lot of situations where you just kind of like, look, we got to start over. So I had a lawyer come to me, but he's paying me $4,400 a month, but you know, we started a brand new site. I went and I because his current site was too new. His domain was really new, and I was like, look, you're going to spend a little bit of time and a little bit of money up front, but it's going to be so worth it. And almost immediately after we put the site up, he started ranking really well. And now he's got, I think we're tracking almost 200 keywords, and he's number one for, I don't know, 30 something of them. And we started the website was launched in mid-December.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
We're talking 3.5 months into it. But again, he's paying me a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he's also been really good about, like, when I tell him to do something, like when I need him to do something that would help the project, he does it.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have
No, and there's some real value too. One of the things I want people to know is you can really be on the lookout for high quality customers. Makes a big difference to get them. Now somebody was asking about Orlando saying, does David Hood know web design? Where does he get his website? You actually outsource your web design. You're not big into web design. I think you know how to use Catalyst and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've done web design. I prefer not to. I actually think this is my personal opinion, and I know that other people out there make good money doing it, and they're fine doing it. This is my personal opinion is that it's a completely different business model, and I don't like to do it. I do have a team. I have a web design project manager, and I have a couple different web designers. One specific one that I've actually trained on how to use different things. I've trained him on Catalyst, trained him on Drupal, and he's been with me for a really long time, and he's really, really fast and responsive, and so I love that. And I offer web design really only to get people to the point to where SEO is worth it. Because, yeah, I could, if I wanted to do web design, I could probably charge people $5,000 to $10,000, and it would still be.
And some people get it, and this is one of the reasons why I want to point out, like, if you get good with, like kind of, we give you a great background in Project X for what you need to do to charge at least $1,000 for a website or $1,500 for a website. You can get deeper into stuff like the stuff that Mike Hayden and Clinton are teaching in the video series I did with Brian Magnosi. We get into the kind of web design that you can do where you can be charging $3,000, $5,000, even $10,000 for, and that can be a great way of acquiring clients. It's interesting to note that David's really leaving a lot of that money on the table, and there's still plenty of money for him. There's no.
It's also like, I mean, here's why I have the web design project manager. When I was doing web design for people, there's like daily.
And this is not somebody in-house. It's not like you go into the office, you walk in and say, "Hi, website project design manager." This is somebody that you're using on somebody you're using on a case-by-case basis. Yeah.
And I tell my clients, look, I provide I provide so much more value to you by doing SEO than doing web design. There's so many other people that can do web design, and my personal preference is I don't like people to spend $5,000 to $10,000 on a website when I think that it only needs a couple $1,000s, because I think that they're going to get a better return on their money by spending it on SEO. That's my opinion.
Well, and that's the thing is that David's more SEO minded, and I want to kind of point this out. This is somewhere where, like, what David's saying is incredibly valid, and Janet echoed like what he's saying, and she feels the same way as him. I personally love selling web design. I like to sell them like hotcakes, like $800, $1,000, $1,200 in and out the door, because that way I'm setting up the site. I'll do it myself in an afternoon, and then it's set up and it's nice and I feel good about it and I know it's going to convert. In fact, one of the things I want to do is talk about this website. I think that's valid too. But what we're pointing to here is that there's so many different services that you can sell to clients. You can sell them social. You can sell them YouTube, Facebook. You can sell them Weebly. One of the things that I did in this particular case with TCS is I offered him, and another thing I want to point out is get in the door, like get started with a deal. With this guy, I was like $1,000 a month to do your website for Nashville Roofing, and it'll be $1,500 a month if you want me to add YouTube and either Facebook or Weebly. So that way you can be top 3, and that's what I want to start with. Is just that either $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month. And I think I told him I would do his website. I would redo his website for like $850, just because it'd be fast. I would just do Wild Country. I just do Mike Hayden's theme on it really fast. Install Genesis Dynamic, and then stick Wild Country on there. It's like a 2-hour job for me, and then it's done. It's set up properly. Maybe I'll run vSilo on it, and then it's good to go.
Let me tell you what I did for someone else. I mean, I still do it. I still charge people for it. I just don't like to do big projects for it, and I don't like to have to be involved in it at all.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, really at the point where you're charging $5,000 or $10,000, you got to be serious about it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure that there's value to be provided. Now, if you're doing that for a plumber that is in one city, I would be like, well, why do they really need to spend that amount? But it's if you can justify it, then go for it. But like I pay. So there's an example, an old client of mine who wanted to move a site to WordPress. I said, okay, $1,000, and basically all I did was take the access information, pass it to my guy, and I pay him $6 an hour, and it took him, I want to say 10 to 15 hours. So maybe like $100 to $200, and then I forward it to the client, and that's it. And so you can still do it, and it took me a while to find that. I wouldn't do really cheap websites, except it with the intent of getting people in the door. It is a good way. I've heard of someone who does $99 websites, and I've even tried that, And the
Yeah,
problem is you're going to get a
that
lot
to
of
me would be
people.
too little. Yeah, that to me is too little. But you can certainly do. I'll tell you this. You can certainly do like kind of what I'm doing. You know, it could be like $650, $1,200. Like I like
Yeah,
to keep it like in the $1,000 range and just get it up and going. Set up the SEO right. But I'm using it for client acquisition at this point, and
right.
it's working great.
Because you have a massive upsell, and so
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with
exactly.
that. And I kind of, I don't, I only do the web design. Really, I formulate it more as like on-page SEO consulting
Yeah.
and charge,
Now,
like,
but again, that's a good point. Like one of the things you can do is on-page SEO consulting as well, and split it up between your off-page and your on-page. And so,
yeah,
what we're trying to do. Let me ask you this here: how many people on this event right now? We have over 100 people live right now. How many people feel like you can commit to going through David's module, and you're excited about the wrap-up webinar that David and I are going to do, and you'll have some kind of questions for him. You're going to go through his module, and you're fired up about it. Give me a number one if you're into that, if you're down with that. David, it's worthwhile to open up your question boxes. We have a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people on this webinar apparently because we're getting a lot of people saying yes. Can you open up your question box and see that? Scroll to the bottom.
I see some familiar names.
Yeah, and a lot of number ones. Yeah, I think that people
He's
really enjoyed this.
he's in I know he's in Alpha Destruction, Operation Alpha Destruction, Orlando. Hi, Orlando.
It's awesome.
Mike. Yeah, a lot of people I recognize. So
It's wonderful. Wonderful. All right, I really appreciate that. David, thank you so much for coming live today. I'm really looking forward to that wrap-up event. And if you guys want to jump in on Alpha Destruction, I've personally endorsed it. You go to alphadestruction.com.
yeah, that's it.
And see if the lightning wasn't good enough for you in the background, now you've got stars. Stars are much more powerful than
Well,
lightning.
the whole thing was I really like this picture.
No, I like the picture too. I'm just giving you a hard
Because you want to just nuke it from space. That's
time.
sort of the whole thing behind it. So
Okay, that's great. All right, and definitely check in on that module that's in your monetization area. Now, one of the things I want to do, David, thank you so much for coming live today. Can we get thank yous
okay,
for David? David can see his question box. It's a great opportunity to give David wonderful thank yous. And yes, David's spreadsheets are in the members area. It's awesome. You guys are gonna get tons and tons of value out of this. David, thank you so much for coming live today. Really, really
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Incredibly valuable stuff. Did you have fun?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, awesome. All right. All right. What I want to do now is I'm going to make myself the presenter again and try to. Always theoretically, I'm going to keep this event to about an hour, but we're well over an hour, and there's more I want to do. So what I want to do is I want to check for a couple more people who are in our audience. I want to see if Jim is still around. Yeah, Jim is still around. Jim, I'm going to make you an organizer and hope for the best here. Jim made some really cool comments earlier. I want to bring them up. Um, Jim, are you there? Do you have your microphone live?
I think so. Do you hear me, Mike?
I do. I do hear you. All right, let me introduce you. This is if you watch our first Money Gang with Mike event, you'll know that Jim is a repeat offender. This is Jim.
Defender. Oh boy.
This is Jim. Jim wrote up actually a wonderful comment the on the Facebook group about about kind of like the 9 big things that he's learned in his illustrious, and it really is an illustrious internet marketing career. We have a real mix in Project X. We have people who are just absolutely brand new, and they have great emotion and great focus, and they're really diving into it. We have people who were new just recently, like David Hood, and who are now having massive success. Jim is another kind of individual who we really wanted to attract to Project X, and he's somebody who's had tremendous success over the years. Jim, you actually started in internet marketing in 1862, and a lot of people
Yes.
don't realize that that in 1862 there was an internet, but you were there. Um, it was actually powered by dinosaurs back then. Is that correct?
It was. No, you couldn't get too much good reception on my laptop, but hey,
In all seriousness, Jim, you've been in it since, is it like 1997, 1998, or maybe even earlier?
Well, I started my first software development company in 1985 for this new thing called an IBM PC that nobody knew about.
Mm-hmm.
Then jumped on the internet around 93, 94. Started my first internet marketing company in 1997.
1997. So I got it right. Boom.
Yeah, and then major e-commerce in 2001. And yeah, it's been a great ride.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's go ahead.
There's one thing that you made a mention to, and I want to make a comment on what David said. Everybody that's in Project X should never apologize for what they do. And let me give you an example. My family used to be in the fine art business, and I always had my sales staff well educated. I always educated them about the artist and the art and everything. And I said, anybody that walks through our doors and talks to you can never BS you about anything in your store because you're the expert.
Mm-hmm.
So as you become the expert in SEO and website design and project getting or day job killer or whatever, you can never, nobody can out BS you in the areas that you're an expert with because you have such a good expertise. And if you don't know something, just say, I don't know that, but I can sure find out for you, because you've got all these people that you can go to and ask questions about.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think one of the things I really want people to have from these things is more confidence, because you're really in the right place. Jim, it's really a source of pride for me that Jim is a member of our City on Hill community, and that he really contributes so much. It's just a wonderful thing. I met Jim for the first time at OMG Live Nashville in November, and it was quite a compliment him coming in. He actually just sent me and David Mills a letter a couple days ago, and that was big for me. I really appreciated getting that from you, Jim. Jim was talking a little bit about the blueprint that we're doing and some of the things that we're rolling out with Project X. But Jim, you've really been around the block, and I love having you involved in the membership. There was something that you said right away that I really liked, and I wanted to bring it up right now. There was this when we were looking at that Tennessee contracting. You had some a point that really jumped out. Let me see, Tennessee contracting. Hopefully I can pull it up. Yeah, maybe I had to spell Tennessee right. And
look at your driver's license; it might tell you there.
Yeah, I know. The contractors. Ugh.
Lots of N's, lots of E's, lots of S's.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can find this.
Spell check.
Tennessee roofing. Let's see. All right, Tennessee.
Well, while you're doing that, there was a tip that when David who had brought up his YouTube videos. Here's a tip for you. If you're doing YouTube videos, add a custom image on your YouTube so that you see that really cool image, because then you can brand like he did the broken arm surgeon. You can have the words broken arm. What it does is it pops out on the SEO listings. So if you do YouTube, do that. Well, just
that custom still can really come up. That is a great. That's something that's just in your advanced settings. Now, Jim, you said something right away about this site. Something that jumped out to you about the USP with this website.
Yeah, the USP is TCS, your Nashville roofing area expert. Because if you're going to do a title, and Greg talks about this quite a bit, is if you're going to do a title, if you use a title, how many words can you add into the title that people would be looking for? Either Nashville roofing expert, or roofing expert area, or roofing expert Nashville. What you're doing is you're branding it. You use the word you're getting them involved, and it should be right there. What I would do is instead of that rotating banner, you could have a small rotating banner, but do a video up there. But you need to have the words in there that you're the roofing expert in their area to define. You're putting the flag in your area and saying, this is what I do, and this is what we can do for you, and you're at the right place at the right time. Yeah,
I really like what Jim's saying, and I got to tell you, we can compare this to and maybe we'll get one of Jim's sites here as well, but I'll tell you, this site converts like nuts, and I was really glad to share this inside of Project X. You can get into the details of how I put this together by going to your members home, and then right below the monetization area is this web design walkthrough, which I think is really critical. Everybody here should go through this. You know, where are you? You're in Nashville. You're in the right place, and here I am. I'm ready to talk to you. And Jim, it's very personal, the feeling of this website. We pulled up one of your websites. Can I pull up one of your websites so people can get the idea of the experience of you know, being someplace that where you're in the right place?
Here's I'll give you, go to this website. Go to K-9 superheroes, superheroes.com.
That's great.
So this shows you the personable look and the area, and it tells you exactly what you're going to do.
I love this. I love this banner picture here. So great. This is a great shot.
So we do dog whispering in our areas, but we also do video dog whispering for anybody who can speak English anywhere in the world. So we can either come see you, we go all over the world, or you can do us a video dog whispering session so my partner Asia and our Boris dog can talk with you. So or you can send questions. You can do the Ask a Dog.
I love that you have, there's something about this right now that really jumps out for me. And I'm curious if anybody can kind of read my mind. What is it that jumps out for you about, Lauren says, I love puppies. Okay, thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. She feels like it's awesome. You've really touched a chord for Lauren. So what is it that really jumps out for you about this website? Maybe somebody can read my mind. And by the way, Lauren, I think that was an absolutely appropriate answer. Jenna says she loves the yellow sunglasses. Daniel says trust. I like that. James says personable. Mike says calm dogs. Smiling approachable, Edgar says. The picture in the top left, Brian says, yeah, I agree with all that. Here's what I'm thinking. I love the personality of Boris right away. That really jumps out for me.
He's our poster child. He's our poster dog.
Well, and this is a big deal because so much, you know, what I'm trying to do with Nashville SEO is just be like, this site is about Nashville SEO. Like, you're in the right place and you're talking to Mike Long about Nashville SEO. Well, if this is about dog whispering, then why not have it be about the dog? And like Jana pointed out, Boris is styling with sunglasses. He's got his shades. He's chilling like a villain. But he's, you know, really a part of it. And the second you heard Jim talking about this site, then he's talking about Boris being involved with it. I mean, that's part of that's, you know, what is, you know, the elevator pitch for the site. Jim can rattle it off right away, what it's about, and it just comes natural to you.
Now, there's something here that here's some comments for anybody that's going to do target marketing for websites and things like that. You have to understand what your marketplace is. And one of the funny things that we saw when we started to see the demographics over the time, the number of people, the number of women to men ratio that make the initial contact with us, you want to guess what that would be? How many women, the first time we get a call, the number of women versus men. You want to take a guess, Mike, what that ratio would be?
I'll say 7-3. 7 women to 3 men.
Nope, it's higher. It's about 95% of the initial contact will be women.
That's amazing.
So what does that mean? Well,
I got to tell you, I'm watching the question box, and the girls just lit up. Like when you showed the site, I mean, Lauren went nuts, and I don't blame, you know. Oh, that's great. And Lauren says, by the way, it's friendly, and she had a feeling of comfort when she came to your website. I love that.
Exactly, and that's that. And what you have to understand is your marketplace is we have the colors, the turquoises, the pinks, the purples, the softer colors that cater to our clientele, who are the women who are making the initial contact. You have to understand is dogs are an integral part of our society. And when you start getting into behavioral issues, they can get really aggressive or barky or snarky or whatever. So what we have to do is come across as the expert that we understand. when we're doing our interviews, we'd say, well, what's your biggest issue? And you say, well, I really feel embarrassed about my dog being barky, or I'm afraid they're going to bite somebody. So now we're dealing in the emotional things. Not only do we understand dog psychology, but we have to understand human psychology. So when you're doing a website, you need to know who your customer is to make them. We talk about e-commerce and the whole e-commerce process, but if you're dealing in SEO, that SEO has to go someplace. Okay, when they have to land at some location, and you have to make the connection within a certain number of seconds, because our society is so jaded by instant messaging and instant everything, and look at the TV and all of the pattern interrupts. You might have pattern interrupts in a movie that happen 10 or 15 interrupts in a matter of seconds.
Right.
So this exercise is when you're using colors and imagery and all these functions and faculties at the visual level. Then you go into the audio and all this other stuff. You're dealing with humans first and foremost. And when I sent you that thing about the 9 fundamental rules,
yeah,
all that has been around since before the internet. When you read a newspaper, it was the same concept, the same thing. You had to do calls to actions, and that's what it boils down to.
You know, this so many things to like about this website, and this is, OMG is a city on a hill, and we just had David Hood on earlier. That was awesome. This is a whole nother awesome experience having Jim here, and I wish you guys. I'm sure that everybody here really appreciates this, and the question box is really lighting up. So many things to like about this website. You are somewhere. Look, really notice the sameness between Nashville SEO. Totally different topic. Totally different energy. This is a much more, not so much aggressive energy, but it's a much more focused, intense energy with Nashville SEO. Why? Because I'm speaking to intense business owners who want to dominate the competition, right? But there's a sameness, okay? One sameness is I'm dialed in to the energy of my clients, of my potential clients. They're in Nashville. They're thinking big. They're thinking about dominating the competition, about all the traffic that's all over the place. They're thinking about the night that's lighting up and all the potential business that's out there. But we click over to K9 Superheroes. Well, what's the energy? The energy is calming. The energy is welcoming. The energy is peaceful. It is soothing. But you are still someplace. Like, really notice that you are someplace when you go to Jim's site here. Like, you feel like you're in a location, like you're going into another world. It's a very calming world. It's a different world than you're at with Nashville SEO. And right here, Jim is just talking to you. Like, I mean, I feel him talking to me on the website. It doesn't have to be with video. It can be with text. Text is fine. Text is great. There is a video down here, but it's not very prominent. And again, we've got Boris right here. Boris is it's just great. It's just, I don't know. I want to talk about this as well. It's different for different niches. One of the things that we're working on right now, Dave and Mills and I are intensely working with Tyler Gallagher on a new module on gold conversion. And someone who's looking to invest in gold might even be a person who has a dog and would love to talk about dogs under different conditions and in a different context. But in this case, there's different subcultures, and this really comes up. This really matters. I remember when Jim, I went to Japan 20 times at the very end of between 1999 and 2001, 2002. I went to Japan 20 times, and what I was doing was initially the way it started is I went to Tokyo to buy Pokemon cards because Pokemon was just incredibly huge in America. And you couldn't, it was like I could just stand on the corner of the street and make thousands of dollars. You didn't even need a store selling Pokemon cards because all the little kids wanted them. And you couldn't get them in America. So I flew to Japan, and it was one of the most frustrating weeks of my life getting there. Jim, I was just walking around. I was aimless. I had no idea. I'd walk into stores, be like, where's the Pokemon? I couldn't find it. I bought a few packs here and there wherever I could find them, but it was a really frustrating, exhausting trip. It was hard for me to eat. It was hard for me to sleep. And it wasn't until the very last night, the very last store I went to, it was called Yellow Submarine, Hobby Station Yellow Submarine. And I was there, and I really happened into a piece of luck. This little kid, this little kid spotted me, and he started just jabbering and racing around the store and like yelling in this high pitched, excited voice. I had no idea what was going on. He was like a little puppy, and the store manager walked over to me and started scrutinizing me, and he pulled out a magazine and he showed me an article about me from my Magic the Gathering days. I mean, which was fairly recent at that point. And he's like, "You Michael Wrong," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Michael Wrong." And he says, "Where Michael Wrong Magic card?" And he wanted to know where my Magic cards were, and I was like, I don't have any Magic cards with me. I'm here to buy Pokemon. And he kind of did this facepalm moment, and he's like, "Why don't you have Magic cards?" And I was like, I'm trying to find Pokemon. What does this have to do with Magic cards? What does this have to do with Magic the Gathering cards? This may sound like kind of an odd conversation, but the point is, he's got these collectible cards. I'll pull them up on the screen so you can see what they look like. Pokemon cards. So this is what Pokemon cards look like. This is what I wanted. Okay, these Pokemon cards that were basically like worth their weight in gold. It was crazy. This Charizard literally probably was worth its weight in gold. So this is Pokemon cards. He wanted to know where my Magic the Gathering cards were. He's like, where are your Magic cards? You know, where are they? And, you know, he knows I'm an expert on Magic cards. I'm Michael Long. I'm a famous Magic the Gathering tournament player. There's a Rootwater Thief. This is actually my Magic the Gathering card. I won the Magic All-Star game. I got to make this card. So he was like, you know, where are my Magic cards? And I was like, what planet are you from? Like, I don't understand what you're talking about here. And he pulls me aside, he sits me down, and he's like, listen, if you'll bring us Magic cards, we'll give you Pokemon. And I was like, what Pokemon? You have no Pokemon. That's why I said to him, Jim, you know what happened? He pulled me over, he takes me into the back room, he draws back the curtain of the back room. And what was back there, Jim?
Your Nirvana.
Tons of Pokemon, boxes of it, stacked to the ceiling. And I was like, what's going on? He says, we trade this for Magic cards. You know, because in Japan, Magic was humongous, huge, and they couldn't get it. They were having the same thing in Japan as we were having in America. Now, what does this have to do with money getting? This has to do, it's a cultural thing. He said, listen, you need to speak our language. You want to just roll over here and be the same guy in a Japanese game store as you are in an American game store, and it's not going to work, right? We're speaking different languages. You need to speak our same language. And after that, everything changed. Everything changed for me, Jim. I made tons of money. I would fly back and forth. I would run all over America buying up Magic cards like they were going out of style. I'd fly them over to Japan, sell the Magic cards in Japan, bring back tons of Pokemon to America, and I would just go back and forth. And, well, what does this have to do with things? Jim, do dog people speak a totally different language than non-dog people?
Sure. And here's a test for everybody that's on the call that has a dog. You can probably strike up a conversation with somebody with a dog, and you can know more about their history and all of their innermost feelings just because you have an interaction with the dogs, and you probably know more dog names than you do human names.
Right.
And this happens because what you're doing is you're leveraging a way to make the connection. And when you're in the internet marketing world, you need to know the language and the connection.
You need to know the language and the connection. You need to know the nomenclature. And what we're getting into here, look, when it comes to Day Job Killer Local Client Consulting, you're getting a lot of exposure to this because you're meeting David Hood and you're meeting Brian Magnosi and Joe Marfolio. And last week you got to meet Jason Boyd and you know, Jimmy Kelly's good with this stuff and so forth. So you're finding out a lot about what's going on for business owners. You're finding out a lot of the jargon that they're feeling, the things that they're running into, the hurdles, the obstacles. One of the things, this is so valuable having Jim here to take you inside of this. This is Jim's own product. This is the same kind of thing that works for affiliate marketing. Jim, you know dog people up, down, left, and right. You know, sure. If you were to go on a dog forum right now, you would be able to interact, and people would think like, oh, like you're one of us.
Sure, because I know what the buzzwords are. Now,
What are
the
some
other
of the
day
buzzwords out of curiosity?
the buzzwords would be what sort of behavioral issues do you have? How long have you been a dog owner? What kind of dog do you have? What's your favorite dog experience? Or if you're on Facebook, what's your funniest dog picture that you've ever seen?
Mm-hmm.
What does your dog mean to you? We always had my partner Asia. She asked the question. We did a survey. Is why do you have a dog?
Mm.
And everybody would come up with a different answer. But what it does is it makes you think for just a minute. Is well, why do I have a dog? Why do I have a pet? Why do I do certain things? Because then it makes you think about what it is that you do, and what you're doing is you're now engaging with them. And I could come up to you and say, well, Mike, why was it the Magic the Gathering was so successful, and what did it mean to you?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me. And then what happens is it's like winning friends and influencing people.
Yeah.
You could say, well, that person was a great conversation. I had a great conversation with them. Well, what did they ask me? They said, well, they wanted to know about my trip to Japan.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is when I did the 9 rules of the foundational ground rules of internet mastery, I said it's the level playing field. Everybody can come on the internet, but it's the successful people that can come in here and start to understand what your tribe is, or what your group is, or whatever. But you have to understand the language, what they talk about, what their high points are, but what also is their pain.
Yeah.
What is the pain that you're getting to the painkiller aspects of them to solution? People come to websites to get an answer to something. So in the dog psychology areas, they have a behavioral issue. There's something that's happening in their family dynamics, and the dog's out of control, and they don't know why, and they need somebody to help
and it can turn their world upside down.
Oh, we've had people. What's really interesting is when we've worked with a lot of the lady clients, that they might be single mothers, or they might be divorced, or whatever, and we've seen them might have really big, powerful, strong dogs, where their whole demeanor, they become more confident, they become strong in what they do. They don't lose their femininity or their womanness. What they do, they become confident in what they can do. They can walk with big dogs, big powerful dogs, either working dogs or guardian dogs or whatever, and they can walk down the street and nobody's going to give them a problem. So what it does is gives them confidence in themselves, but it also gives them confidence in all the other areas aspects. When we get into dog psychology, there's a lot of times where we have to use emotional freedom techniques or some other issues to deal with dog traumas. Somebody might have a dog that killed a cat or something, and it was traumatic to the owner, and we had to deal with the psychological issues to get them over those hurdles, then to understand how to deal with the behavioral issues in the relationship with their dogs, so that they're talking at dog language. So all of these things that you relate and become expert in your area in the SEO and how it relates to the online community is you're dealing with human interactions. I mean, you can get everything, like Zig Ziglar said, you can get everything in life you want if you just help enough people get what they want. But you get back to the core basics, and the internet gives you so many ways to deal with it. You can track everything that you're doing. You can do images, you can do video, you can do discussions.
Well, and the biggest
Facebook
thing is
and all this
you can
content.
talk to people and you can interact
You can
with
talk
people.
to people. Sure.
It's
interact
just
with
the biggest thing, because what is Jim in between the lines here? One of the reasons why I have these Money Getting with Mike events, these acceleration events, is I want you to meet a mixture of people who are just like you, who are at different stages of this whole, internet marketing money getting thing. Now, Jim, obviously, at this point, is a world master. And what are the deeper assumptions that Jim has here that he's bringing to the table? And one of the things is he just has this grounded understanding that it's a conversation between him and his customer. In between the lines, what's in between the lines here? Well, there was this woman and she ran into this issue, and then there was this other woman and she had this fear of this, and the way we dealt with it was such and such. And then there was this guy and his girlfriend was afraid of dogs, and this is how they dealt with it, and she learned to love dogs. And then but this becomes, you might say, well, oh, Jim, aren't you getting bogged down in the minutia? I heard it was about having a snappy business headline But no, it's much more about these real personal one-on-one interactions that you're having with your customers. Jim?
Yeah, I'm still here. I got this thing going on. Yeah, the one-on-one conversations that you have is you're dealing with people regardless of if it's like when you went to Japan, you're dealing with somebody that didn't even know the language, they didn't understand you. But once there was this common thread, one little thing, it could have been a photograph or an article or whatever, the one little common theme, that then expands and you start to gain and you start to understand the interaction with the individual. This platform that we have here, and I mentioned it the other day, is the money getting with Mike's situation. You present case studies. The Canine Superheroes dog was reading. This is a case study. What David Hood went through, that's a case study.
Yeah.
So then we start to get down, and we get this great interaction and conversation back and forth of explaining what's going on. But now we can really expand and say what's the beauty of it is. Now that Project X has some maturity, now you can really get into the nuts and bolts. Sure, once you learn how to do a website and how to do the PBNs and all this, now it's how do I apply it and what do I really do with it? And then the success and say, hey, this is what we did over here. You should try this. Oh, that's really good. I should take this and we'll try that. So the world is your oyster and you can do anything you want to, just as long as you get the foundations down and then move forward and don't worry about making the mistakes. If I had a buck for every mistake that I've made over the last 20, 30 years, I could probably live on a small island someplace. You just learn from the experience.
Well, and one of the things with internet marketing is mistakes just don't have to cost you hardly anything, and that's really great news. I want everyone here to know you've gotten such valuable information here from Jim on having your own product or doing affiliate marketing. This has been very similar. It's also certainly there's still valuable lessons here when it comes to day job killer, local client consulting. I mean, all these things it's one of the reasons why, the second you make your first day job killer sale, you're 90% of the way to making affiliate marketing money and vice versa and all that kind of stuff. This has been such valuable information. Jim, I want to keep you live. I want to wrap up this webinar by bringing one more person live. I'm hoping that Jim will stay live with us for another 5 minutes here or so.
Sure, no problem.
Ed, are you there? This is Ed Stapleton. I want to pull this up. This is actually on the screen when I began this event. Let me pull this up for you guys here. This is an interaction. I had this right after the previous Money Gift with Mike session. This is Ed wrote in and he said, hey, awesome webinar tonight. I would love early access to the blueprint document. So I gave him access to our Project X blueprint that I've been working on behind the scenes, and you can get access to this by emailing me at omg@omgmachines.com. I've gotten a ton of emails in, and I'll try to take care of that later on this evening. But anyways, I got this from Ed, and I wrote back to Ed, and I said, oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And he says, thanks, Mike. By the way, $9,300 in my first full month doing Day Job Killer SEO, hoping to double that shortly. So that was exciting, and I wrote it back, and I forwarded this to David and Greg. And Ed wrote in and says, oh, I was off a bit. It was actually a little bit higher, but who's counting? So, and then he went through. I'm always interested in the detailed earnings reports, and OMG is a city on a hill, so often I get them. Ed says $750 per month for one lease site, $1,500 another month for another lease website, $500 a month for another lease site, $2,000 for some on-site SEO, plus a tiny bit of off-site and a direct mail sequence. So again, we're just combining different packages here. $4,400 from a revenue share deal with a local contractor. $441 from an info product. Great. $150 from a small info commission, and that all adds up to $9,741. Ed, are you there?
I'm here.
Ed, congratulations. OMG is a city on a hill. I love seeing these kinds of successes. So your first 30 days pretty eventful?
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot, and this has definitely filled in a lot of gaps that I've had in SEO. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Wonderful. Do you enjoy meeting David Hood? Now I'd also like to introduce you to my friend Jim. Jim, Ed,
that was awesome. I really like that, and you hit the nail on the head. That marketing is empathy. So getting in the head of the client, the prospect, is vital. So I really appreciate that. It was awesome.
It looks like the MasterCard commercial. everything that you do, and then at the bottom line, it's, hey, I have free time, which is just worthless, or it's just, you can't put a dollar sign on it. It's the freedom.
Absolutely. So Ed, take us inside your first 30 days, moves that you made. And remember, not everybody is going to have this kind of success. Some people will take a little bit longer to get started. Some people go even faster, and that's great. So Ed, what was your first 30 days like? Can you take us through that?
I immediately started building out my own personal sites that I was going to rank for local, different kinds of local businesses, with the intention of generating leads and then leasing those sites to different businesses. So I just started building out local sites. And
what niches did you go into?
The moving niche, the chiropractic, accounting. What else do I have? Orthopedic. I've got some hip replacement stuff. I've got a wide variety. My main thing was I wanted someone that could easily. I wanted either a high transaction value or a high recurring billing, so that they could make money and I could make money at the same time. I wasn't looking for someone that was a low margin business. I wasn't looking at restaurants. I was looking at ideally high ticket items.
So what are these coming in for? What's the 750 for?
That's a moving site.
So that's a moving site. So what did you do at that point? You got it ranked, and then you started approaching local movers?
Yeah, well, it's actually a funny story. I had gotten the site ranked, and it was floating around. It was doing the Google dance. It was on page 2, and all of a sudden it was nowhere to be found. And I was like, damn, the site's gone. I did something wrong. And my phone starts ringing one day, and the lady's like, is this so-and-so moving? And I was like, oh, shit, yes, it is, actually, because I'd actually put my phone number on there. So immediately started shooting emails to local companies in the area and tried to work out a deal.
That's great. So what would of course you ran into plenty of no's, but you did run into one yes, and then you're leasing it out now for $750.
Oh yeah, you're going to get 99% are going to say no. You're just looking for that one. That's it.
Yeah, it's a lot like getting married. So then in that case, what was that conversation like with the person who said yes?
I talked to the guy for a while. He was a little bit skeptical at first because he was curious as to how I got to where I got so fast. He looked at the age of the site. He was currently working with an SEO company who has gotten penalized. Basically every penalty in the last year they've gotten. So he was curious as to how I was doing what I was doing, and
what'd you tell him?
There was a bit of rapport. I told him I had my ways.
I
didn't go into specifics.
Played your cards tight to the hip. That's great.
Yeah. So, but having that site ranking that fast and holding the position steadily, and then actually having another website in the second position, really built up a lot of trust and rapport and credibility. And he said that he'd take it for the price I was asking for, and that if I had additional sites in the surrounding counties and surrounding geographic areas, that he'd pick those up as well.
Nice.
As I build them out.
What about the $1,500 a month? What was that for?
An accountant.
What was that interaction like?
Actually, I had been chasing him for a little bit, and
so this is somewhere where you were kind of like, I'm going to speculate a little bit here, but I bet I can get this guy, and if I can't, I can always try somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think one thing to not do is don't chase people. You lose a lot of your positioning when you chase people. It hurts your credibility. It hurts a lot of things. So my mistake there was chasing him, and I wouldn't do that again.
Oh, yeah, a $1,500 a month mistake. So $4,400 from a revenue share deal with a local contractor. That's a big win. What's the scoop behind that?
I have a local contractor who I'd been doing direct mail for a while, different types of direct mail campaigns, sequence campaigns, tear sheets, things like that. And then I convinced him to follow a new approach that I'd learned, creating different EMDs and partial match domains and just going after specific areas. And he went for it. And it's just the beginning there. I think that's going to be a monster client for me. $10, $15, $20, $30,000 a month type of deal.
I like pointing this stuff out because one of the things we brought up was the idea of what different things can you do for clients, and direct mail is one of the different things you can do with clients. Optimizing their on-page. One of the things you put here is some on-site SEO. A bit of off-site. So you can re-optimize their website. You can install a silo. You can add more and more to things. So I just really like seeing this. I think that it's really, really valuable, and it's just so great. Ed, made my day to get this email from you, and every single time, it just never seems to end. This stuff just kind of comes out of the blue, but every single time it really moves me. And Ed, I'm so glad you joined us from Project X, and that you just jump right into things.
Thank you, man. I'm glad to be here.
All right, wonderful. So in this case, Ted's asking. I don't understand the lease concept. In this case, what Ed's doing is he's building sites in advance. And you can do this with videos as well. He's building a site in advance and saying, you know what, I'm going to build this site, then I'm going to lease it out. So the idea of leasing the site is you still own the site, and then you're putting somebody else's, basically their advertising, making them the new face of the website. So imagine somebody had done this for national SEO. I mean, of course, it'd be a little bit ridiculous, but whatever. So imagine I made national SEO, ranked at #1, and then I went to the local SEO agencies and said, hey, this can be your name here, just like a billboard, right? Your name here. And then they're like, great, I'll pay you $2,000 a month. I'm like, cool. And then I put their video right here and say, hey, this is, Joe Johnson from nationalseo.org. And then, that's how it works. So there's so many different ways to skin a cat with this local client consulting stuff. You can do Facebook for them, all kinds of different stuff. Janet says, I would love to hear more about how Ed or others approach the revenue share business model. How do you approach that model, Ed?
Cautiously. There's a number of different ways you could do it. You could do it as straight up rev share. You could do a pay-per-call, whatever type of action you want to take. But in my situation, it was a straight up revenue share. I get a percentage of every deal that closes. You've got to have unless you do pay-per-call and pay-per-action, you've got to have a lot of trust and rapport set up with that guy or that person because there's potentially a lot of money on the line.
But the thing is, a lot of these guys are used to hiring salespeople just to basically go almost door to door for them, and they'll pay that person a commission. So it's, in a lot of ways, you're just setting yourself up on a commission basis in that case, just something where you don't have to pound the pavement. You're letting Google do it for you.
Right. Well, one thing to think about is there's something like, say you create a certain page on a website, you get it ranked, and in my case, with a previous client, it was the direct mail sequence. After he'd written me a large check once, the second time he went to write that check for the sequence I had already created, he just remailed. I noticed he was hesitant.
Yeah.
Because he had seen that I already did the action once. I shouldn't get paid twice for it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like the lease option so much, because I own the asset. I'm the one providing, if he doesn't want to pay or he's hesitant, I can pull that away and go talk to another business who's really game.
Yeah, and of course with your PBNs, you always have that power to change the links as well.
One thing I'd like to add in is I don't even have a PBN yet. It's still in production. I literally am in the process of building it out. I did all this without any PBNs, with just Web 2.0s and renting links from people to get started.
Sure.
I didn't let the PBN hold me back.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important not to let that stuff hold you back. Well, this is a wonderful way to close out the event. Ed, I really appreciate you coming on. Jim, I really appreciate you coming on. This has just been awesome. Also, thanks to David Hood, who came on earlier. If you guys have thank yous for especially for Jim and Ed, they can see your comments and so forth. And I really appreciate everybody here. And by the way, Rachel's wondering, do we have inside of Project X? Do we have examples of how to rent these sites out and sell them? Absolutely, Rachel. If you go to your monetization area, which says deciding on a game plan, if you want to know how to do day job, killer, local client consulting, let's walk through this. First of all, you can go to your field training. It's very much like what we had today. This one with Joe Marfolio is amazing. With Fletch, with Glenn Ingram, this stuff is just terrific here. It's absolute gold. On the front page of your, Dave Keys did one as well. It's just incredible. So these are field trainings with people where you can get inside of what they're doing, their takes on how they're making money with our method. Then when you go inside of our day job killer local client consulting section, here's this is a module, acquisition pricing, servicing clients with David Hood and Mike Long. This is a module I did with David on how David's making $20,000 per month, and we go through how it is that he's doing it, over his shoulder, because this is a duplicatable model. I did the same thing with Brian Magnosi. Then here's Jimmy Kelly's domination section, Your City SEO. You can actually see in the Your City SEO section, this is actually me right here. If you scroll down to the third video, 15 minutes to $500, this is me actually doing a client phone call right here and right here, closing actual clients. I actually have them on speakerphone, and you can hear me talking to the clients and me making the business deal and making the money. So Rachel, absolutely, we have that absolutely covered. And there's lots and lots of thank yous that are pouring in from folks. Jim, I hope you can see that, those thank yous. I really appreciate you coming on. You're such an ace.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's great. One thing that really popped out with Ed, always build on your own existing skill sets. Like he said, he had a whole bunch of postcard stuff. That's phenomenal. I mean, that opens so many other doors to the other internet stuff. So don't be afraid if you got existing skill sets and something else, that can always relate over to what you're doing in Project X all the time.
I love that. I love that. It's such a great point. Ed and Jimmy, you guys have lots of thank yous that have come in. I want to thank everyone coming on this event. One of the reasons why, and I'll give you guys an idea of this. Jim, you were talking about that Project X blueprint. This is I'll pull this up for you here to give you like a little sneak preview. These are kind of step-by-step screen captures that I've been putting together for this module that I'm getting ready to put inside of that blueprint. And I've spent hours and hours and hours doing this, but it's such a joy for me. And it's funny because it really relates back to the kind of research that we do, like getting on a forum or something like that to find out what the nomenclature is and what the language is. This will give you some insight into the background work that goes inside, just being fascinated with what we did, just being interested in what we do. Like these are screen captures that I took from Jimmy Kelly's domination videos that I'm now putting into your Project X blueprint right here. If I actually scroll down to the domination area, I was up until the wee hours of the morning working on this, and you'll see those screen captures starting to get imported into this document right here. These are the last few ones that I did right here. Select options, click here, check this box here, choose Spanville reCAPTCHA. It was kind of funny when Jim was telling me to go to his Canine Superheroes website, notice that he knew that I was going to have trouble spelling it on the fly, and he actually just gave me the exact spelling right there, just very easy, nice flow, really orienting people and helping them understand what's going on really comes up again and again when it comes to money getting, and it's really a valuable proposition. And if people are wondering why I put so much into this, why Greg and David put so much into this, and Fletch, it's because we have such enormous success coming from our members, from people like David Hood and from Jim and from Ed. It really fires us up. Plus the wonderful energy from new people coming in, sharing, giving it a shot, putting their heart and soul into it. That really fires us up to go the extra mile and the extra mile after that. So we really appreciate it. Your wonderful energy is the reason why we do these add-ons. Yes, we've already given you everything we promised inside of Project X, but there's a little spark that makes it worth it to just do even more. And so I really appreciate it. This is my thank you from me to you. I really appreciate everyone on this event. I planned it for 1 hour, went to 2. Somehow this always seems to happen, but I want to thank everybody. And once again, this is Jim's second time jumping on one of these Money Game with Mike webinars. What a priceless case study here from Jim. Just so valuable to everybody here. Just really, really, really wonderful stuff. So thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate your valuable time. Ed, thank you for coming live. First time I've heard from you, so that was wonderful.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. And Jim, a final thank you to you. Again, Jim is such an ace when it comes to this stuff. He's just a shining example. I'm just so proud of the different individuals that our City on Hill community has attracted, and just having him, being on our Facebook page. And Jim, I hope you'll come back out to OMG Live, and just really so glad you came out to the event tonight.
You're very welcome.
All right, great. All right, God bless everybody. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Let's do. How does 3 p.m. sound to everybody? Normally I don't ask, but give me the number one if 3 p.m. sounds like a great time. 3 p.m. Eastern, if that sounds like a great time to do the next Money Getting with Mike. 3 p.m. Eastern.